Dear listener, ClockTower is intended for mature audiences and might be inappropriate or possibly triggering to some. Many of the themes and events in ClockTower are inspired by weird fiction as well as similar concepts, which means the show can get dark. If that isn't something you enjoy, please listen at your own discretion. We here at the ClockTower care about you, so please put your mental health first. Our show will be here when you're ready.
Welcome to Season 2 of ClockTower, a D&D 5e experience. To all our old and new listeners, we're excited to have you here with us. ClockTower is a D&D campaign turned audio drama, played with a custom class and a few house rules that we as a group collectively enjoy. If you find yourself getting a little lost, there's always older episodes to guide you back to the path. With all that said, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and welcome to the ClockTower. The disgusting yellow carpet seems to melt in all around Barrett. Every part of it sticky and gooey to the point where if one part of him tries to pull out of it, it seems to pull him back down, as if the entire place is consuming him with a deadly, malicious intent. And from his perspective, all of his friends are already gone. As slowly he tries to keep his mouth shut, his eyes, but that strange material, whatever that carpet is made out of, not quite a liquid, not quite a solid, and the stench indescribable fills every part of him until it goes completely black. A fate among many terrible fates that Barrett has experienced, and then suddenly, you hear the chiming in the distance. And like waking up from a bad dream, you're sitting on the couch in the ClockTower, side by side with the rest of your fellow agents, realizing that since the mirror is reflecting all of you, they must have done it. The mission must be over. The bowling alley slain or something. You're not sure, but you're not dead, and the mission is over.
I've died worse this. I've died worse this. Yeah, I've died worst deaths. Oh, that was pretty high up there. Well, you guys did it? What was it?
Yeah, it was a orb, actually.
Orb.
Orb. I was surprised. I thought it was going to be us having to kill the creature, but no, it was just the whole world was done.
Yeah, the desolate dead world definitely probably should have given that away. Nicely done, though. Thanks for pinching that off. I didn't want to have to do that again.
It's been a while for us, ever since we've destroyed a world. I honestly wasn't sure how we were going to kill like a bowling alley.
I was going to just keep shooting until it kind of worked, but, this was kind of a better option.
Just be thankful it wasn't that hard of a moral dilemma. It seemed like a pretty surefire way of picking how to go about it. I remember my first orb. It was, the first orb I knew what was going on, what it meant. Easy peasy.
I think ours have always been kind of cut and dry.
I'd say so. I mean, dead world, almost dead world plus bowling alley.
Yeah, we've been kind of solid on that. I wouldn't understand what you mean by a hard decision. It's always been kind of meh.
Well, some of the worlds I've seen benefit from not having anybody around. Sometimes they're absolutely beautiful, and it hurts sometimes. But only hurts me, I guess. No one was on it. All right, well, what do you guys want to do now? Seems like we could just hop into another one unless you want to finish that book, Jaeger. I know it was a real nail biter.
Jaeger looks up at Barrett, looks back down at the floor, looks back up at Barrett again, glances to the side. Like, he looks like he's trying to find somewhere to escape to, but he can't really.
Or we could research, Eldritch time-killing light.
Actually, I think I have an idea. I know what I'm going to try. And he's going to Then Jaeger's gonna stand, crack his hands, and then reach out a fingertip and touch the lantern.
You just gotta poke the lantern with a fingertip?
Poke the lantern with a fingertip. He's just trying to get himself used to it.
Roll wisdom.
19?
You feel incredibly driven not to touch the thing. But when you finally reach your hand out and your fingertip touches the lantern, there's this like almost a spark, like that static electricity biting you feeling. But it's just this feeling of hopelessness. It is the distilled essence of suffering and giving up. And part of you for a second wonders how Castell was so fucking driven if he had to be dealing with this feeling all of the time.
I feel like Jaeger's stays pressed onto it, but he like puts out his hand and grabs the handle.
Oh, it's so much worse.
He's just gonna sit there and just think about the old days. He's gonna think about Sam. He's gonna think about Reagan, Rock. He's gonna think about Barrett, Trinket. He's gonna think about Lily, all the other friends he's made, everything that he's found that has been good so far, and just try to like push that outward into from his own mind, almost like he's trying to form like his own shield, just to try to hold it back a little bit.
As you do so, and you're trying to remember everyone you've ever met, there is this like overwhelming feeling in the back of your mind that you're missing people. Like people that you should know should be there. Like when you walk into a room and you've forgotten why you got up to get into this room in the first place. Just this feeling in the back of your mind that there's 3 or 4 other people that you don't know, that you don't remember, that you feel like you should. And it like part of that not remembering, roll another wisdom save.
10.
Your eyes just start to like well up with water and tears until you feel them just dropping down your face. It's so dysphoric because it's not even your sadness that you feel, and you know it. You know that. And you can't stop those feelings from just like coming out. And all of you basically see Jaeger touch the lantern, then grab it with his hand. And in a couple seconds, he like focuses really hard, his face scrunches up, and then his eyes go wide for a second, and you just see like tears start streaming down his face and dripping onto the wooden floor of the clock tower.
You good? We both know this is bad. Again, we've routinely said not to do this.
As you're hearing Sam, it's almost like muted in the background. You're like desperate to say the names, to like anything you can do, anything at all to think of the people you've forgotten, and you can't. And it's like any like sense of trying to think of who you've forgotten that you just don't remember is like someone's grabbing your tongue and pulling it out. Like you can't, it's just not there.
I didn't think that book was that bad, that he'd have this preference.
He's going to take a moment, shake his head, and try to like, tears still streaming. He's going to try to shake them off of his own eyes so he can see. And he's going to keep his hand locked on it for just
So you're going to continue trying
longer.
to hold on to it?
Yes.
Roll another wisdom save.
5.
You drop it.
He lost it.
You
yeah.
can't hold it. You just can't anymore. And as soon as you do, that feeling that you've forgotten someone, gone. You like can count on your hands everybody you've ever met. And none of them, whatever that feeling was, it was from the lantern. And you know it for sure.
Jaeger's going to pull his hand back like he's been burned, shake his fingers out, sit back on the couch for a moment, breathe, look back at everyone else, stop on Trinket for a moment, and just stare, and then shake his head and go, "Oh, that's a lot. That is..."
I think besides Rock, you're the longest person to hold on to it, actually.
Who here has held on to it? Is it just you two?
Well, we've played like hot potato with it a couple times, like moved between people, but...
From your estimation, Sam, the more you guys have interacted with the lantern, the more you've held it, the longer you've held it, the worse it's getting. Like when Rock had it in the first time, it wasn't that bad. Now it's like really bad. In fact, it's been worse and worse.
I mean, honestly, yeah, when we first started, it kind of wasn't a problem. But, I mean, we poked it before we went into the last mission, and I poked it, and that sucked. That was the worst I've ever felt it. And if what Jaeger was going through is any indication, it's getting worse.
And you guys just used to tote this thing around like it was a briefcase before, or it's just getting harder?
No, more like it was if you picked up a hammer and then you used the hammer and you left it in the shed for a while.
You don't remember them touching the lantern before the last mission.
When did you guys last touch the lantern?
Oh, yourself and Trinket went through. We were gonna go through. I just briefly showed Jaeger the notebook I was talking about, the idea, and I realized I'd never really held on to it at that point, so I was like, one really quick thing, because we were debating on, well, I think you wanted to bring it in.
Yeah, I was thinking about using it against
So you guys decided to experiment without us.
It's not really experimenting, more along the lines of we had an idea after you had already walked out.
That's where experimenting usually comes from, is having an idea.
Well, normally you have like a scientific process on this.
All you guys have is intrusive thoughts, it seems, as opposed to a scientific process.
That sums up our family.
You know, it's kind of fair. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. Yeah, a little bit.
Anyways, I'm going to go start the next mission.
Oh, okay. Segue.
Sam,
You're gonna sit up like just like the old days and just like walk to the mirror and just wait.
Sam like hops up and does like the little waddle run over to the clock face.
As you go to start the mission, Jaeger, you're waiting by the mirror. Trinket, what are you doing? Because this lantern is like, it has an aura about it.
So through all of this, Trinket is just staring very intensely and quietly at the lantern. Like she looks stressed. Like that's the best way I could describe it. And she's not really like, she kind of tuned out everyone around her after a minute and is just staring at the lantern.
You okay, Trinket? You look like you already touched the damn thing.
I feel like I've seen a ghost.
Well, that might be... You might be drawn to it. I'm not quite sure how that exactly works or what you guys have done with it in the past, but seems something's going on. I don't see a ghost.
Yeah, I don't really want to think about this right now. Let's go to the mission.
As you, just about as you say that, Sam has touched the clock face. The hands have spun. Your guys' pocket watches have started ticking, and you see, well, actually, they've clicked into place where they're going to tick down as soon as you start the mission. And then the mirror lights up, and you guys see oranges and reds and like this pale blue sky that looks really pretty with like white fluffy clouds rolling across it.
Well, it looks pretty good. Pretty good, just distraction, not worrying about it. We can just go through and it'll be great.
Yeah. All right. You first. As I cross my arms.
To be fair, Jaeger already jumped through. Just
Sam walks over to the mirror, looks at Barrett, looks at Trinket, looks back at Barrett.
Like clasping my hand in a goodbye fashion.
Okay. I mean, you're not the first one to... never mind. Just walks through the mirror.
And I look at Trinket and I trust you. And I go through the mirror.
Before I go through the mirror, I take one last glance at the lantern as I step through.
Make a wisdom save.
Oh boy.
You're alone with it now.
Okay. 20.
Natural 20.
Yeah.
With a roll of a natural 20, Trinket, you look at the lantern, and there's this there's this fear, this underlying fear that you've had of it this entire time of not wanting to know the answer of what it is, of what it could be. And as everybody has stepped through, and you have this another feeling of being comfortable with these people, when Barrett looked at you and went, I trust you, and then stepped through the mirror of these guys, as weird as Jaeger and Sam are, and as still kind of new as Barrett is, they do, in a weird way, have your back. There's suddenly this sort of confidence that you feel, and you feel like you could touch the lantern. You feel like you could be fine. Or you could go through the mirror.
I'm going to go through the mirror because my friend said he trusted me. and I would rather do it with everyone present if I'm going to touch the dang thing.
Okay. There's a sort of hesitance and fear that you felt about it that isn't there anymore.
All right.
And you go through the mirror. As you do, all of you guys see this sort of red dust, dirt all around you, and these sort of like beautiful, picturesque, like Red Rock Mountains all around you. There's these like, you see, Barrett, you feel something touch your ankle, and you look down, and there's a like tumbleweed that has like bumped into you in the slight breeze, and you do realize it's hot.
I go to deflect missile.
Swat it away. You all look at each other, and you're all wearing sort of like Western ranch wear. Barrett, what are you wearing?
Barrett has a very light deerskin vest, no shirt. Everything from his nose up is painted red, and he has a feather sticking out of his bowler cap, as well as a large hole going through the center of the hat. And has feathers and bands on his arms, large chaps, and deerskin shoes.
Sam?
Sam is wearing what was once a white kind of like starched like cotton shirt. Now it's kind of stained and dusty, kind of pinkish now. A nicely double-buttoned vest, kind of undone a little bit. A black collar ribbon and black like armbands on his elbows, and a crumpled bowler hat on their head.
Jaeger's wearing what looks like to be a set of black pants and shirt with his boots, which would be normally fine. However, he's also wearing what looks like a black band wrapped around his eyes, and on his head sits a sky blue cowboy hat with fur on the rim, one large rhinestone in the middle of the forehead.
No, Rock would be so flamboyant in this whole fucking arc.
Trinket has a black cowboy hat, kind of like a white, like button-up style shirt with a blue vest over it and a bolo tie, and is also just like a pair of like classic just jeans and cowboy boots.
I feel like, Trinket, you look at everybody else, you're like, why is everyone so extra? As you guys look forward, you see that there's a big wooden sign that hangs in a big arch over the entrance to what looks like a pretty well-kept ranch, and it says Feather Tooth Ranch.
I go to check my pocket watch.
You have 5 days.
Oh, 5 days.
That's a while.
As I go to try and put my pocket watch, I'm like, where the fuck are my pockets? Oh.
Why do we always get long missions in the middle of... Sam looks around. Nowhere.
I have a feeling we're going to need a horse.
Well, I mean, there's a ranch right in front of you.
What's a horse?
Okay. We got plenty of time. Let's head this way. As I start walking toward the ranch.
All right. Sam follows.
Okay.
Jaeger takes one step forward, stops, looks up, shakes his head, smiles, and keeps walking.
Okay. Trinket, are you also going?
Yeah, I'm following along as well.
So, as you guys all start walking towards the ranch, you see in the distance there's a windmill building, big sails catching the slight breeze and turning lazily. You see there's like a big barn building, and there seems to be like someone that you can't quite make out all the details of opening a big sliding door of the barn. And then creatures explode out of that barn, like really fast. They're about like 4 to 5 feet tall, like somewhere in between, as we would as players know, a turkey or an ostrich. Think of that. And they are covered in bright feathers, but they shoot out of that barn like a bullet from a gun. And they all like seem to rush over at the fence line towards you guys. And they've kind of got these like elongated heads with beaks, and like smaller clawed arms and these really fucking big claws on their feet. And they've got these long feathered tails that whip out behind them. And Barry, you go, oh, those are velociraptors. Those are fucking raptors. Those are dinosaurs. And they immediately like snap towards Sam, who's a little too close to the fence line. And they like have this weird chirping sound they're making where they're just like,
I like try and like peer above all these like craning heads and feathers and like looking for a person.
yeah, back by the barn. The raptors didn't rip that person apart, and they seem to be wearing like a cowboy hat and boots and over like weathered blue overalls.
Barrett's gonna like pinch his bottom lip and give a whistle and wave his hat up in the air as much as he can.
You see that person like waves you guys over, kind of like you can almost hardly hear them in the distance because like you're at the end of the ranch where the like a lot of the yard is, and you can't hear over these things like chomping at each other because like they knew you were here immediately. And Sam, they're looking at you with like murderous, like they're looking at you like they want to eat you.
Yeah, am I at eye level with them?
I think they're a little bit bigger than Sam.
Yeah.
With,
They're like chest level.
They're like a large dog sized, but they're like they're like up to here. So they're about eye level with Sam. Yeah. So yeah, you are about eye level with them.
The raptors, not Utah raptors.
Right.
Sam's like looks at the fence, looks like kind of scans the crowd, starts reaching for like their wand. Is this like a...
Oh, no. Well, maybe, but no. We'll see.
All right. Slowly backs up.
Is there like a gated path?
Yeah,
or,
you guys,
good.
they're fenced in, and there's a path that goes
cool.
all the way to like the farmstead, basically.
I'll just like kind of before I put my hat on, just like wave the dust out of my face and put my hat back on and realize I'm covered in feathers. Like, oh.
And they are like following you the entire time you like go down the way. They're, you know, when like farm animals are like really interested in the person on the pathway and they're like kind of crowding around each other to get over the fence to try and get to you, or like, and the thing is they don't seem like super aggressive towards you, but super interested. And when they finally get up to the point where the gate is, you see that girl is like just finishing up what looks like feeding a bunch of scraps and stuff of like meat into a big trough. And then they start crowding around that, and some of them are still crowding around trying to get like look at you guys. And she kind of like this woman with the cowboy hat and the overalls pushes her way through them, like get out of my dang way. Like, opens the gate and then looks at all of you and goes, "Well, howdy, y'all. You must be the new farmheads that I sent for. I didn't think there'd be 4 though. I thought that there was only 3 or so, but you know what? More the merrier. We got plenty of rooms for y'all to stay in. Assume that the letters I've been exchanging with you, you're good with the pay."
Can I roll for history check?
Yeah,
really
go for
quick?
it.
Yeah, can we all make a wisdom?
Yeah, I was going to say, can we jump on that?
Yep.
I rolled 2 2s, so...
Barrett, you almost look to your right to be like, "Oh, Grin, do the thing," and then you're like, "Fuck."
Natural 20.
18.
11.
Okay, so Jaeger, you're taking a second to process, but you're like, okay, you guys are out here in a ranch. The raptors are bred for like pets and other things. They're like a very high value kind of like animal that people like to have, but they're very dangerous to raise and they're very dangerous to tame. So like kind of like having horses. Right? Mm-hmm. They're not like people use them for races and all kinds of other things. Some people use them for like pulling small carts, and other people just have really nice raptors as a status symbol. These are really nice raptors. These are like purebred, well-trained, not going to eat a person on command raptors. They're not anywhere near as dangerous as raising T-Rexes or anything like that. Other kinds of like dinosaurs that you're now familiar with in this world. There are like bigger raptors than these and like bigger other kinds of dinosaurs that people ride as mounts, or as to Barrett's knowledge would be people ride them like horses. These ones you don't think you could ride. They're too small. You also know that there's a lot of different like breeds of every kind of dinosaur you can think of in this world.
I assume Barrett's been to a place where there's like a large city with sentient fucking dinosaurs.
You've been to everything.
Yeah.
You can assume a lot of things.
Yeah.
You start kind of like, okay, average farmhand pay if I was going to bullshit this would be 25 copper a day. They have these little like copper rings with the middle of them cut out. That's the main currency. A lot of times people will like keep a couple copper rings on a little loop on their belt. One copper ring is equivalent to about having like $20 in your pocket in our world. So having a few of them is pretty good. And you know, living out here working full time, about 25 copper rings a day, you're making pretty good money out here. And you're not sure what the deal is or what to pay, but you think that's probably standard for coming and living out here on a ranch in the middle of nowhere on this raptor farm. Sam, you immediately like, yes, the correspondence where you said that we would be paid $15 or 20 copper a day because that's all she can afford because she's not doing the best out here.
Oh, yeah. 20 copper rings will be fine. And, I mean, my associate Barrett here's worked with Utah, some connoisseurs. We got this.
Do not.
She, like, looks at Barrett kind of intimidated a little bit and goes, all right, yeah, no, he does it. I see the raptor feathers, so, yeah. And she, like, looks at Trinket and looks at Jaeger and kind of has this, like, feeling of, okay. And Barrett, you're kind of, for a moment, like, you look to your right, expecting Grin to do the thing, and then you hear Sam to your left, and you're like, oh.
Nice. I get to just stand here menacingly.
And she looks at you guys and goes, I can't thank y'all enough because, you know, with, as I told you, but for the rest of you, ever since my husband's been missing, it's just me and my daughter. It's just been me and my son. And he's got his studies, and that's all he focuses on, and he doesn't help much on the ranch. And you know what? I'm the one who pushed him to go to school, so I can't judge him too much. But it's been tough, especially with a lot of the bills from that school ever since he got. She like thinks about it for a second, has this look on her face, like maybe she shouldn't air out her personal problems with her kid right now, and then goes, so I just really appreciate y'all coming out here.
Sam nods knowingly. Like, Sam gives her a look of like, we've talked about this. Yep, it's all good.
We can always use a smaller pay since we have an extra hand too.
She looks immediately relieved, Barrett. Like she was expecting less people, and so another person she expected to pay them more. She goes, oh, that's so, you know what? Well, this crop is, we've got a buyer already to buy more than half of my girls out here. So when we sell them, we'll be able to really talk about pay. I might, if this buyer is willing to pay what I think they're willing to pay, then they might even be able to pay you all a little bit more. But let me show you where you're gonna get set up. Come with me. She goes, this here to the right, it's the main house. It's where I stay. Me and my husband used to stay, and she like moves you in. You guys see like a relatively like a decent sized farmhouse built out here, pretty nice. And then she takes you, and you see there's like this small. I want to say it's built like a fire watch tower, where there's a big elevated spot, and on top of it, you see just like windows going all the way around it. And she goes, "That's the tower. We can see if anybody gets lost out here for smoke signals and all kinds of stuff. We watch for storms, and we report what we find back to the city before it, will roll into the city. And they pay us a little bit to keep that going on. And that's where my son stays. He does a lot of his research up there in the tower. So it shouldn't really be a problem for all of you working. But if you ever can't find me, he does know everything about the farm. He just doesn't do much of it. So
oh yeah, no problem. I mean, Sam gestures over to Jaeger. My friend here, Jager's got the best pair of eyes I've ever seen this side of the country. So if you need another pair, I mean,
Well, that
He's the
might
person to
actually
look
be
for.
great. Maybe I'll, around dinner time, if he comes down, we can introduce you and then see if you can go up there and maybe you can take down some of the notes for the city.
Yes, of course. No problem at all.
Because he is pretty invested
I
in
can
his
write
work.
those up perfectly fine.
And she nods. And then she brings you over.
Barry
You
nods
guys,
this one.
she passes by this like larger barn. She goes, "Oh, in there is where we keep the boys, keep them away from the girls for most of the time. And
of course.
one of you will need to go in there and make sure that all the saddles and things are all polished up and everything is good. They're fed and they're cleaned and they have their feathers brushed down and all of that. That'll probably be you since you seem to have the most experience with the raptors and I can tell that you've ridden them before, so... Roll a bluff check.
Grunts in medicine. Can I assist you?
Yeah, you could take the help action for sure, but I need to know what you're saying.
And Sam was like, oh, yeah. No. Barrett's got this handled. I've once seen him calm a whole herd of them down just by himself.
I got a 14 total.
You calmed a raging herd of raptors?
He don't say much.
Oh, I see. She gives you a knowing look, like, She goes, all right, well, that's the barn. And then you guys see there's like kind of a pretty big shed behind that barn, and she doesn't say anything about that. And then she moves on to like this pretty long building. She goes, the guest house is here. I had 2 rooms before, and I guess that each one has about 2 beds in it. You each have a kitchen to yourselves as well. So I guess I didn't think I would need it, but you have just enough beds for everyone. If you need anything, I tried to stock the kitchens as best I could. There should be plenty of food for y'all, and we do a town run every second day, so that'll be pretty easy. And we can, if you guys need anything, just keep a list, give it to me, and I'll go check it out, and we can work. Don't worry about how much it costs. We can all work that out at the end of the season on all of your pay. And then lastly, she like points over the barn that she came from originally, and she goes, and then that's the girls' barn. That's their house. That's where we keep them all. And well, I imagine the rest of you will. You guys have experience keeping. Well, she like looks at Trinket and goes, "You've experienced keeping raptors?"
Of course.
Sam like side-eye drinking from it. Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I forgot to mention the additional hand. This is in like gestures to Trinket. Like your name. Please say your name.
Trinket?
Trinket.
Did you forget her name?
No, I just wanted her to be polite. It's just I feel like I talk too much. I talk over people. I'm working on that.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm just glad to have the help. She nods.
Nods.
She goes, I just fed the girls and the guys I took care of this morning. I expect that all of you should be used to waking up bright and early. It's hard to sleep when they start howling at the sun. So I'll go start getting dinner ready and y'all can get settled in. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot. Here are the keys.
Oh,
She hands both
thanks.
the keys. So I guess y'all can figure out who's staying where all by yourselves. You've listened to me talk enough, so I'll go start cooking. And
Yeah.
she goes over to the main house, kind of awkwardly, like she doesn't know. She doesn't seem like she deals with people a lot, and that most of her life is dealing with raptors and her son.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm sorry. I should have said. I gotta go get dinner ready.
Take care. Right. So, do you think there's bunk beds, or are we going to have like single? I'll go look. You want to open the door?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're here now. So
I give Sam just a elbow. Herds? Really?
well, you're capable.
Well, I guess I have to be.
Listen, I'll be around. Listen, this world doesn't have magic, right?
It does have a little magic, actually.
a little magical twist. Just bright, make it bright up. Illusions, I got your back.
I'm starting to miss that fucking carpet right now. As I'm looking at these chomping teeth at the gate.
Magic is a high academic pursuit.
All right. Well,
Well, go on. Yeah.
you have the key. I can't. I can't.
Sorry, I'm still not used to having the things. Sam puts the key in the door at the guest house and unlocks the door and starts walking up to one of the two rooms.
Okay. In the room, you see that both of them are sort of laid out exactly the same as you guys look through them. The sort of main place has a couch and an end table, and the setup of it is like eerily similar to how the clock tower is set up, but there's no mirror, and that like kind of weirds you out a little bit. And then through like a small door-sized archway, there's a small little kitchen with a wood-burning stove. And then down a small hallway, there's a bathroom. And at the end of the hallway, there's a bathroom, and across from the bathroom, there's like a closet. And at the end of the hallway, there is a bedroom. And the bedroom has like 2 beds that don't match. None of the 4 beds match, but they are all similarly furnished with like hand quilted blankets and like embroidered pillows with the little frilly lace on the sides. And it just kind of feels like when you go to your grandparents' house to stay the night and you're sleeping in their guest bed and you're like, this is...
Sam, do you want to...
Oh, yeah, sure. I don't mind.
Roommates. Okay, cool.
Roommates are mate. Sorry for the awkward handoff, by the way, Trinket.
I wasn't sure if I was supposed to say my name or if I was supposed to make up a name.
I left. That's why I didn't say your name. I wanted you. We can be anything here. So if you wanted to have a different name,
You didn't give me that option. I'm just Barrett.
well, you seem kind of a practical guy.
Well, you're right. As I go, like, stiffen up my vest and go walk to my bed.
So here's my question. Besides us having our first job ever, and then looks at Sam and goes, I don't think pirates counts. We were pirates for a little bit there. But
I liked my job there.
no, it was great. I loved being a pirate. But my point is, I don't think it counted as an actual job. And anyway, not the point. What do you think we're doing here? Because I feel like this world seems very well put together so far. So I'm hoping maybe there's not like a reason to crack any orbs, but maybe there's some sort of giant dinosaur creature running around we can stop or something like that.
Well, I got
Maybe.
5 days. I hope that thing's not going to be stomping around for that long. So,
Well, yeah. Head rancher's husband went missing. That might be a lead, or awkward to pry into.
Probably would be kind of weird to mention at dinner. Just
Really? Dinner?
no, I'm just saying it'd be kind of weird to mention at dinner if you were to bring it up. And I'm putting out all the
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
well, if we're putting out all the options, we could just tie them to a chair and interrogate them and then just redo all this. But
What? No. What? Whoa.
we're obviously not doing that.
Sam just like gives a little side glance at Barrett, like,
I'm just
Why?
saying we could do this however we want. We have plenty of time, infinite tries.
infinity does not mean that the effects of this world are not felt by other things.
Well, you guys are definitely going to learn how to ride raptors by the time we head back home.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, really cool. Getting your arms ripped out of your sockets.
Hey, it's me, Ellie again. Thanks for listening to this episode. It's the start of a new arc, and that means anything could happen. Really, even I don't know how this arc ends. This arc is the first time in the history of the show that we're releasing the beginning of the arc without knowing how it ends, because we haven't finished recording this arc yet. If you want to hear more about our thought process behind the arc lengths in Season 2, we talk about it kind of a lot in Clocking Those Towers, the Clock Tower post show, that you can find only on our Patreon. Now, it's on to credits. If you would like to work with us or collaborate with us in any way, contact us through the Contact Us section of our website, ClockTowerAgent.com. Barrett was played by Bink. Sam was played by Cal. Trinket was played by Kball. Jaeger was played by Trent. And I, Ellinthris, was your DM. The voice of our disclaimer was Valak Donahue. You can check out all of his work at patreon.com/themadblanddreamer. All music for Season 1 of Clock Tower made by Who's Music. If you would like your own D&D music commissioned, you can contact them and find all of their work through their website, whosisthis.com, or find it in the description below. Thanks, Who's. Additional music and FX provided by Andrew Smith and Cal. Thank you to our editing team and Cal for making the episodes what they are. And thank you to our sponsor, Alpha Lupine Images, for donating the equipment to help us make more content with better quality. And thank you again for listening. Clock Tower Season 2, Episode 29, will be out for all of our early episode patrons on March 15th and will release publicly on March 22nd. Till then, time's ticking. See you in the Clock Tower.